Hi, my name is Courtney and I'm a retail pharmacist in the metropolitan area, and I'm here to talk about a drug shortage. Today, I want to talk about the Clomid, or its generic name, Clomiphene, drug shortage. Clomid is a selective estrogen receptor modulator. It's used in women who are not ovulating or have infrequent ovulation to increase ovulation with the goal of achieving pregnancy. So it's a fertility agent. Interestingly, it's only FDA approved for use in women. However, it has been prescribed for men. And the uses in men are interesting. It helps to look at the mechanism of action a little bit closer. To understand the mechanism of action of Clomid, I do briefly, and in as little detail as possible, want to touch on the system that it works within. So this is the hypothalamic anterior pituitary gonadal axis. Yes. So the hypothalamus releases GnRH, or gonadotropin releasing hormone, which acts at the anterior pituitary gland, causing it to release gonadotropins, aka FSH and LH, or follicle stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone. FSH and LH then act on the gonads, or the testes and ovaries, to control gonadal function and increase estrogen and testosterone. The most relevant thing for understanding the mechanism of action of Clomid is understanding that this axis, the hypothalamic anterior pituitary gonadal axis, is a negative feedback loop. And there are receptors at the level of the hypothalamus and the anterior pituitary that sense the presence of the downstream hormones. So there's estrogen receptors at the hypothalamus and the anterior pituitary. When estrogen binds those receptors, it basically sends a message that there's estrogen around and that it can slow down production. So when estrogen is high, it sends a message, estrogen's high, you don't need to keep making it. Or if there's no estrogen around, there's nothing binding to those receptors, then it increases this axis to produce more. So as Clomid is a selective estrogen receptor modulator, it actually goes and binds the upstream hypothalamic and pituitary estrogen receptors and basically blocks endogenous estrogen from binding. So there is no natural estrogen binding. The body thinks that there's no estrogen around, so it stimulates production of these sex hormones downstream. Clomid was approved in 1967 by the FDA for infertility in women, but since then its off-label uses have been in men, and these uses include infertility and increasing testosterone for males with low testosterone. LH and FSH play different roles in men and women, but ultimately are responsible for the production of testosterone and estrogen, and male and female fertility. This is especially important in men who want to remain fertile, because disrupting this axis with exogenous testosterone decreases fertility. So Clomid is a way to increase testosterone and maintain fertility. It actually can increase levels of LH and FSH, which stimulates sperm production, increases sperm density and volume, so has been used for men to increase fertility as well. So Clomid has been on the market for a long time, since the 60s, and generics have been on the market since the 90s, give or take. And those generics have come and gone. There's been many different manufacturers. And right now, with the current drug shortage, what it looks like is happening is that one of the most recent generics that was supplying pharmacies is actually now going off the market. So What I see when I try to order it is that the drug company that I used to get it from, which was Bryant Ranch Pre-Pack, is now off the market. So the generic that my pharmacy was using is no longer available. They have taken the generic off the market. The drug company that was making it was Bryant Ranch Pre-Pack, and they're considered a small company and they are no longer manufacturing the product. So the generic that was available for me to order for my patients is gone. The brand name drug was available, however, now when I've tried to order the brand name product, my invoice actually says temporarily out, please reorder. So basically there has been an increased demand for the brand name product because the generic is no longer available. And another thing that's unfortunate about only having the brand available to order is that we normally use coupons at my pharmacy. A lot of people are using GoodRx, but the GoodRx for brand name products just is not as effective. So we've actually tried using a GoodRx for the brand name Clomid, and it tells me that there is a critical payment error and that we are not getting reimbursed properly for the branded medication, so that we can't use the coupon. So basically, if you're looking at the GoodRx price for the brand name, it may or may not be true, because it did say a price, I entered it, I billed it, it just, my billing system said, sorry, not gonna work. So the cash price isn't absolutely astronomical, depending on how it's being used, but that's another thing, is that for women, they're only using it for 5 days out of the cycle. That's what the FDA dosing is. But for men, the dosing is all over the place. I've seen it dosed once daily. I've seen it dosed, and this is the 50 milligram tablet. So for 50 milligrams, I've seen it dosed once daily. I've seen it dosed every other day. I've seen it dosed 3 times a week. I've seen it dosed twice a week. There isn't FDA approved dosing for men. So the dosing schedules that I'm seeing, I think, are just from clinical trials that have been done, but the FDA didn't look at for approval, and there's a wide variety of them. So I had a prescription for someone that was to take it every day for a quantity of 90, and the prescription in our system, was well over $300, which is expensive for a 3-month supply of something that you're going to be on for who knows how long. As a male, the use in males is all over the place, versus in females, it's being used 5 days a month to increase ovulation, and then a maximum number of 5 to 6 cycles. And if pregnancy is not achieved, then it should be discontinued. Looking back, there's a lot of evidence of Clomid drug shortages in the past. It seems like this is a cycle we're just seeing again, and that the brand name, if there's an increased demand, hopefully they increase manufacturing, and then the shortage will no longer be a problem, but we'll see. I don't know if other generics are going to become available to pharmacies for them to order, or if there's going to be an increase in brand, but I do think this drug, it's been around for so long, it's staying around,